Welcome to Programmable, where we talk to tech luminaries to help you with your career. Programmable is brought to you by JDoodle, the AI coding suite for learning and building together. Try coding for free in over 88 languages using our online development environment at jdoodle.com. I'm Lucas Hakewill, and today we're speaking with Gokul Chandrasekaran. He's the founder and CEO of JDoodle, building tools for developers and technical learners. Before JDoodle, Gokul was an associate director at KPMG and held many solutions architect and developer roles. He started his career at TCS as well. Gokul, welcome.
Hi, Lucas. Thanks for having me.
To start with, can you tell us a bit about yourself? What did I miss?
Okay, great. I grew up in a rural area in southern India. I did my bachelor's and master's there. Then I started my career as a software developer. I have been in IT industry for more than 20 years. I have done variety of roles: software developer, team lead, architecture, solution architecture, enterprise architecture, management consulting. My last role was with KPMG as an associate director. JDoodle is one of the problems I personally had. I have been trying to solve. That's my background.
Fantastic. I'm really interested, Gokul, in, I guess we talk a lot about careers on this podcast, and you started your career, you studied in India, you moved to Singapore briefly, and then moved to Australia. Can you talk a bit about that journey?
Sure. I have been always traveling before I come to Australia. In India, I have worked in at least 4 different cities: Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad. And I had opportunities to go and work with the clients directly on sites like in Germany, Deutsche Bank, and Singapore, Deutsche Bank. Then I decided to move to Australia with my family. In 2010, I moved. Since then, I was in Sydney for about 7-8 years, and I'm in Canada for the last 5 years. From career perspective, it actually helped me see different projects, different clients, different technologies that actually helped me shape my career. Actually, you mentioned I started my career with TCS. That's not actually true. I actually started my career with a startup, a very small startup based in US, but I was working for them remotely in India in a small internet cafe in a ground floor with the dark rooms, things like that. That's where I learned everything about technology, honestly, than working for big corporates. Because I got the opportunity to work on almost everything, starting from front-end, back-end, databases, infrastructure. So since then, my mindset was like, I should be able to do everything for a software development on my own. And I was traveling in that journey. So I was keep learning on all these areas that actually helped me in my career. When I became a solution architect, I was able to perform very well because unlike most of the other architects who just get the inputs from the devs and other engineers put together a solution, I was able to be hands-on. So even when I propose some solution, when an engineer challenges that, I can just go code and show them, hey, how it works. That gave me a lot of leverage in my career. That actually helped me in JDoodle as well. Before I formed the team, I did everything: front-end, back-end, database, infrastructure, security. It didn't happen accidentally. It was very meticulously planned, I would say. Even when I was a solution architect, I would be taking projects very carefully. I have done infrastructure project, application architecture, data warehousing, security. So every time when I select a project, I just select very carefully which will be helping me in the long run. Some people say it's a bit of a luxury, but with a careful planning and negotiation, you can do it.
So starting your career at this startup sounds like this was a really seminal moment for your career. It's helped to inform the rest of everything you do. It sounds like that time spent in the basement of an internet cafe also informed the product that you built at JDoodle. Can you tell us a bit more about the startup and what were you working on?
Actually, it was founded by two guys. One was like architect, technical guy, CTO. Another one is like CEO. The CEO guy came up with the idea. They built a role-based access control system. I mean, 20 years ago, role-based access control system was like not very major. Like that was kind of starting, and they came up with some concept, and they got some endorsement for their work. Then they started building that as a product. So they both were working from US, and they formed a small team in India, just 3 people. I was one of them. And they were like, what, 24 hours. You just go online anytime, they are available. And they gave me a lot of inspiration about how to start a company, how to run a startup, basically. You go to any technical problem, that CTO was amazing. He knows everything. If you try to solve something in 12 hours, he will solve it in 2-3 hours. I just wanted to be like him. Hopefully I have done this, achieve something in that direction. That's how it started. Then still, that company was acquired by Sun Microsystems. Then it became part of Oracle. I think they both left and they started other startups, things like that.
Fantastic. Okay, so you went from this small startup to TCS, a behemoth. You worked in corporates. What's the difference?
When you work for small startups, mid-sized companies, even later in my career, I have worked for small companies. When you work for a small company, you actually learn more because you get chance to touch on everything. That's basically you are building everything. You are not like part of the big machinery. You are not just a cog. But when you work for big corporates, you can learn about processes and things like that. But if you want to be a comfortable full-time employee till your retirement, yep, they're the best ones because you understand how a corporate works, what is the process, how well you can fit within that machinery. It's all great. But if you want to do anything on your own, you have to take risk. You have to get out of corporate for some time, experiment things, work for small organizations. That will, if you have started your career with a corporate and if you're moving to a small company, a startup, it can be a shock because you will be asked to do everything. You are not just asked to do only front end or a back end or within back end only microservices, things like that. So, but if your target is to become a startup founder, especially technology-focused startup founder, I would highly recommend starting with a startup or work for a small, medium company sometime.
Having that generalist experience, and it sounds like in your career, even in corporates and government, you very specifically chose your projects to help you to architect that generalist view of how technology projects work.
That's true. And as I said before, this nothing happened accidentally. You had to plan, you have to work for it. Work for it means it's twofold. One is, okay, for example, when I was a developer, I want to be an architect. So some people might get accidentally, okay, you go start as an architect. But for me, I had to plan, I had to study, I had to do certifications, things like that. Even after preparing all that, I wasn't getting an opportunity because I have been a very successful developer. So they don't want to move a successful developer into architecture and find someone. So I had to move companies, I had to move cities, and I had to sacrifice my salary. For example, I was a top performing developer. Then when I want to move to architecture, I am going as a junior architect. So I had taken like 30 to 40% salary cut to do that. But I have never, actually, when I was moving from government to KPMG, I took almost 40% salary cut, mainly because I want to experience the management consulting. Like that, when I was moving from developer to architect, I took almost 30-40% salary cut. And when I'm moving from KPMG to do my own startup, I'm more than 50-60% job salary cut. So you have to sacrifice salaries, income sometime to achieve your goal. That's second part. First part, you have to prepare. You have to keep working on what you want to reach and prepare for it. Be it upskilling yourself, doing certifications, working in a place where you.
It requires a really long-term mindset.
Yeah. Nothing happens in the world in short term. If something happens in the short term, it's not going to be permanent, number one. And if something comes to you without you look for, most of the time people will lose it.
Gokul, you've been very successful as a solutions architect and a developer. I want to dive into what do those two roles do? What does your day-to-day look like? Maybe let's start with solutions architecture.
Solution architecture or an enterprise architecture, they both are like a bridge between technology and business. So it is, you are just, when you are a developer, you are purely a technical person. Okay, you got a problem, you are solving that problem technically, how well you can solve it, what is the performance of it, how fast you can deliver, how much free it can be, how much code coverage you have got, how easy to read from others' perspective, things like that. Those are your primary objectives, even though you have to think about business, but that's your. But when you are a solution architect, you are actually not working for, even though the role is technical role, you are actually working for business. You are the very first thing is you have to understand what business wants, why they want it. Sometimes they will come and say, hey, I want X, but probably they want Y, but they don't know that is Y exists. So as a solution architect or an enterprise architect, you have to first understand what they want from business perspective, help them come up with the requirement clearly. Once that is defined, then your job is to translate that requirement into technology. So basically, probably you need this changes from front end, this is from middleware, this is from microservices, this is from infrastructure, this type of security things needs to be implemented. So you bring that solution together. Then it depends on the solution architect's skill level. Sometimes they may not be very well skilled. Not everyone can be skilled in everything. Then you will be working with the particular engineers to define the solution. In my case, because I had a wide variety of experience before, so I was able to come up with my initial ideas, and I will work with the engineers to define them. Because I had experience that really helped me talk to them in their language and shape the solution. Developers are highly opinionated. I would say they are the highly opinionated than anybody else. So that's not a wrong thing, because you can do a same thing in 100 ways in software. You can get, for example, if you want to sort at numbers, there are 100 algorithms to do it, right? So it depends on like what do you want out of that? You want performance or you want accuracy. So you have to define that clearly. And when you talk to the developers, you always have to keep this in mind and try to make them understand at some stage, if it is going wild, then you have to do hands-on and show them the value. That really helps.
Yeah, so as a solutions architect or an enterprise architect, not only do I need to clearly understand the business, its motivations, its objectives, but then I need to think about, well, how do we prioritize these objectives and translate those to the best technical solution, and maybe wrangle some difficult opinions from developers.
Correct. The one most important thing every technical people, be it a developer, software architect, or anybody working in technical area, has to keep in mind is the technology teams exist to support business. It's not the other way around. In many organizations, I have worked, engineering teams will go and argue with business saying, hey, this is the best thing to do from technology perspective. We need 5 months to do it. We can't do it in 3 months. Things like that. But business has their own challenge. Business is not successful. Engineering is not going to exist. So we have to understand why they want it, how well we can help them. We have to be very empathetic about business. We have to go above and beyond to find ways to help business. It's all about business.
And so for those listeners who are thinking, maybe in my future, I'd love to be an architect, it sounds like from your perspective, getting the experience as a developer was the most important first step for you. Is that fair to say?
I would definitely say that. I have seen people within few years of their career becoming solution architects, enterprise architects, and do very poorly. People who has experience in particular areas, at least, they are amazing. People, when you are an architect, you have to make both the side happy, business as well as engineers. So if you don't have much engineering background, and if you are going and suggesting some solution to engineers, they might take it as insult as well, because you don't know about what I am doing and you are suggesting me this. I have seen that in the past. So even if you become an accident solution architect or enterprise architect, please upskill yourself before talk to the engineers.
Is it the same for being a CTO, do you think?
Absolutely. CTO, if you don't understand what engineers do, this is my philosophy. If you can't do a particular job, you can't manage. You should not manage. I think it was in Tesla, if I remember correctly, Elon Musk said that every manager should be doing the work, or actual work, at least 20% of the time. I would say you should be doing it at least 50% of the time.
Clearly understand that person's role. So before you were an architect, you were a developer. You built your skills in lots of different areas. Tell us a bit about what is it like to work as a developer?
For me, honestly, working in software development, doing coding is almost like doing meditation. Those are my great days. So I just go in the morning to office. That time there's no remote work. And especially when I moved to Australia in 2010, 2011, Agile, Scrum, they were all emerging at that time. It was fantastic. In my first job, we were developing a eBay-style bidding platform for an Australian auction company. So we will be having there will be a big wall with all the stories. We didn't use any other software platforms. It was a pure, the real wall. There will be cards, to do in progress, things like that. You just go in the morning, 9 o'clock. There will be a 15 minutes and amazing friendly team. Just go pick the top one, do it. You don't need to worry about anything. Just understand what they want. Just do it. And the stories were very well written. Do it, then go move it to the in progress, like that. Take 15 minutes breaks in between. I mean, when you go out of office around 5:30 or 6 o'clock, I used to walk to home. I feel like what a day. Almost every single day. That was one of the greatest days. No stress, nothing. Had a clear requirement. But as a developer, you won't be in that type of environment all the time. I have worked in a lot of chaotic environment as well. So they won't even define the requirement clearly. They will push you to do 10 hours of job in 2 hours. The code base may be messy. You have to navigate through that type of situation as well. But it is all about understanding what business wants, how you can negotiate with your managers, how well you can do it. Yeah.
So we've gone through day in the life of a developer. You had some amazing experiences as a developer and some less amazing experiences, and something along your journey made you decide, I need to build a product to make developers' lives easier. Tell us a bit about JDoodle.
Sure. JDoodle is actually stemmed from my college, university days experience itself. So basically, as I said, I grew up in a rural area and in a middle class family. So I didn't even have a laptop or computers that time. So I will be going to the learning centers, computer centers, and that too, you won't get laptops for all the time, computers for all the time. You have to book, you may be getting it for an hour a day, things like that. Even when you get that half an hour or 1 hour, 2 hour, that lab system, even in your college, university lab, the biggest problem, the time wasted was setting up your environment, setting up your IDE. That time, internet was not mainstream. So you will get the softwares in the CDs, you put, install. I remember I was searching for Java 1.2 compilers for 3 months. Couldn't get it. After very long struggle, somehow I got a CD with the Java 1.2 to install and learn in my computer center. So that was the challenge. So even since then, I always used to think how we can simplify how. Is there any way I can get access to this type of stuff? Dial-up connections were started at that stage, but you can't do actual programming with internet of that years. Then I kind of forgot about that when I started my career. Once I moved to Australia, when I was working for that auction platform, I was using Eclipse to do the actual project. I need to do some experiments which will be helping integrate into my main project. So whenever I wanted to do a small experiment, it will be like testing a small library or like testing a 3-4 lines of code. I have to open a new project in Eclipse. Eclipse is very heavy. People who have had used Eclipse, they know it's highly resource intensive and it is very hard to use. So if you have to open another project, which will slow down everything, or you have to close the other project, then you will be wasting hours to do that. And I had to do it frequently because we were using different libraries, different logics, things like that. I was thinking, what if there is a website where I can just go type these few lines and execute in few minutes? I was doing a research, but I couldn't find anything which is suitable for my need. And then over a weekend, I just wrote a small program in 2011. That's the core of JDoodle. But I didn't realize it. I just forgot about that. Then in 2012, I moved from full-time job to a consulting, freelance consulting. So during that time, I wanted to do a couple of other side projects. I just wanted to experiment. So I had a couple of ideas, and I then remembered about JDoodle. Then I just took the code, rewrote, and created a new website, registered a domain, and pushed it online in 2013 August. My investment was $20. I bought a server for $20 and I put some Google Arts. It was just for Java, just one page. You go to home page, there will be a box to type code, click a button, result. It was very simple with Google Arts. And surprisingly, in the first month itself, it earned more than $20. And I didn't do any advertisement. I didn't do much. I just messaged few people about my work, posted in few forums. That's it. Then it started organically grow. People started using. It was a surprise. Then people started asking me for additional features. I want additional languages, library support, etc., etc. Then naturally it grows. Then people wanted API. Then customers contacted me to integrate IDs into their platform. Even though I tried many other stuff, JDoodle really stood out. 2 years ago, I decided to resign my full-time job and take it seriously as a full-time project.
JDoodle paid you back your $20 within the month. That's incredible. What's been some of the biggest surprises along the way, do you think?
Okay, basically, I started it for the software developers because I was trying to solve the software developers' problem. Even though I had personally faced a problem as a student, that wasn't my primary thing when I wrote the first solution. But a lot of students and teachers picked it up. Initially when the teachers and students were using it, I thought, okay, maybe in some developing countries, underdeveloped world, global south, they may be interested in this. Who is going to use it in developed world? Surprisingly, the second largest country of our user base is US. So it has two for one is it's really simple and easy to use. So when a new student starting, they don't need to waste their time, and the teacher doesn't need to provide all that environmental related support, which is really standing out. So surprisingly, it grew very well into education, schools side of it. And sometimes we receive messages, emails from people, hey, I don't have computer, but I have a small Android mobile. With your platform, I'm able to do programming online. Thanks for it. That really touches. That's the most rewarding thing in doing JDoodle.
Yeah, you're able to solve the problem that you initially experienced, having to go to a computer center and spend 20 minutes setting up the computer. So development has changed a fair bit in that time, and I think one of the biggest factors at the moment is, of course, AI. What do you see as changing the software development landscape?
AI is actually going to help everyone, starting from student to software engineers. Some people fear that can reduce number of software developers required, and there may be some job losses, things like that. In my point of view, this is a much needed change. Actually, when I was studying computer science, one of the reasons I studied computer science is I saw computer science as a efficiency booster, performance booster for humanity. So we don't need to waste our time in unnecessary things, and we can just focus on what really matters, and we can outsource things to machines. Unfortunately, the software development world itself is full of inefficiencies. If you go and look at what a software engineer is doing on day-to-day basis, setting up their development environment, managing their development environment, managing their deployment, hosting environments, almost 80% of their time, they are not doing coding. They are just wasting their time. With JDoodle, basically with AI, which we will be using in JDoodle to improve developers' efficiency as well, we can eliminate that 80% wastage. So the developers can really focus on what they are supposed to do. So it doesn't mean that, okay, if you are reducing 80% of effort, the 80% of software developer jobs are going to go away. No, it's not really like that. So every company, if you look at, they have a fixed budget for their software initiatives. For example, if a company allocates $1 million for their software development, currently they can employ, say, 10 developers, and they're getting X outcome. With AI, they can employ the same 10 software developers, but they will get 10x return. So they are not going to reduce the budget. They are not going to cut the software developers. So it's actually going to get better outcomes for the companies, better outcomes for the software developers, and for the whole world.
So we can just expect more productivity from our software teams. And so whilst you built JDoodle for that use case of, I need to test some code, I don't want to spin up my full IDE, is your vision that in the future a developer will come to JDoodle for all of their coding needs?
That's our vision. So you come to JDoodle, you can do the whole software development along with your team. You can host it from JDoodle itself. So for example, if you want to deploy a code today in a hyperscaler, you have to go create an account, put your credit card in, then you have to create multiple accounts. You have to create virtual private networks, then subnets. You'll be wasting a lot of time. In JDoodle, what you are trying to do is, what you are trying to achieve? You want to serve a developer software which is going to serve a particular purpose. Come code here, click a button, that software will be ready to be used. And with the help of our AI and our platform, you can actually focus on what you are trying to solve. If anyone is happy installing the IDEs, installing document engines, configuring all that, is what people are interested in, or just doing the actual coding and creating a value for themselves and their business.
You're almost trying to create that feeling that you experienced at that job at the auction platform where you left work feeling like, oh, what a day. Absolutely. So, Gokul, over this period, you've worked with hundreds of developers, some great ones, some not so great ones. What do you see needs to change about how developers learn to be good developers?
The very first thing is why you are doing that particular job. So from the day one, even when I started my very first programming course, which was GW Basic, since then I had a kind of some interest that the software programming had always excited me. During that time, even when I started, there were not GUI. It is all character-based, the old DOS type environments. I have seen my friends and relatives who has done programming like, okay, there will be a matrix and they will be just rotating only the outer layer of matrix. And when I saw this type of stuff, I felt like, oh, this is not a work. This is actually game. So when I studied programming, it really excited me. Hey, I'm learning to do gaming. I'm not learning to do some job. So I never felt tired or hated the work I was doing. So that's most important. First, you should like what you are doing. Sometimes when you are working for a company, when some tasks is assigned to you, you may not like doing it, but just take one step back and think what you are doing. Basically, you are still playing. My point of view, every developer is playing. There is a problem you got, there's a solution you are doing. Think it like a gaming, and you will enjoy it. How you can enjoy it? It depends on how much you are learning as well. So one thing really helped me in my career from my college uni days is whatever helped me is what I learned outside of the mainstream. So when I just did my bachelor's in computer science, in my college I studied GW Basic, Fortran, Copal, Pascal, C. Those are the 5 languages they taught. But they were already outdated in that time. So outside of that, when I started GW Basic in university, I studied C and C++ outside. Then I did Visual Basic, Java, everything I learned, like even Microsoft Word, how to use Windows operating system, everything I learned outside of the mainstream. So mainstream, because they have their own speed, they're not actually won't catch up with the outside IT world, which is very dynamic, changing every day. So you have to learn things outside of. So don't think that 6 hours or 8 hours you are spending in university and college as a thing which is going to help you in your career. That is probably just for your degree, entry ticket. See, just like that. Learn as much as you can outside. That's number one. After that, once you join the company, also don't think, okay, I got a job and my life is settled. I still feel my life is not settled. So you have to don't think, okay, I got a job. I'm going to I'm going to have my revenue for the rest of my life. No, it's not like that. We are in a different world today. So you have to keep learning. You may be working in something in daytime, but do something else in your free time. Keep learning. Otherwise, you can't survive.
Don't rely on the curriculum that's fed to you because it will be out of date.
Even before they publish it, it's out of date.
So you're at the coalface of of what's new in startups. You must have an opinion on what technical skills you see are really in demand for startups. If a student's trying to think about how do I allocate my time outside of university, what should they be studying?
Okay, this is an interesting question. The answer is there is no straightforward answer. It's almost like, number one, what do you want to do? Okay, I want to be a software developer. Okay, why softwares are built? How softwares are built? Some business wants a software solution to manage their internal operations, or they want to communicate to with their customers, being face of their business with customers. Okay, done. How they are doing it? Probably, okay, they create a website, web application. That web application talks to something in the back end, and that stores data somewhere, picks up the data, processes it, it communicates with other systems, things like that. Just think like that. Then, okay, where I want to sit, where I want to work. If I want to work in the front end, okay, now we already know it's a website and web app. So what are the technologies, tools used to develop website and web app? Today, basically, you have to learn HTML, CSS, the basics. Then the latest frameworks like React. But that may be changing. Next year, the React may go out and something else may come in. So you have to just keep learning in that area. So otherwise, no, I'm going in the middleware. Okay, what are the middlewares used today? What type of programming languages, softwares used? Just research, talk to people, check with your friends and relatives working in IT. So just keep updated, try to read, go to bookshop, find out what are the new releases in that particular topic. You will easily know what is hot in the market. This other way. And try to do something on your own. Even if it is going to be a successful startup or not, always try to do something. Maybe create a small project. So try to solve a small problem, put it out in the world. It's very easy today. People use it or not, that is secondary, but we would have learned something, how to build the software, how to manage it on your own. That will be really, really helpful in your.
It's easier to learn something if you have a side project or something that you can focus on with a desired outcome.
Yeah, and you have the freedom to explore, experiment. Question, Lucas.
What's something that you believe about software or about your journey with JDoodle that you think most people might disagree with?
The whole thing is, okay, there are many things. One is, okay, I was trying to do everything on my own. So probably people might say that's too much. Some people even might think that is not possible. Yeah, it is very hard. It takes time because within a month or within a year, you are not going to learn everything. For example, I did the mobile app for JDoodle as well. When I did everything in JDoodle before forming the team. So I had no idea about mobile development. So I just spent 1 month learning Flutter. When you want to learn a Flutter, you have to learn Dot. Then you have to understand how Apple ecosystem works, Android ecosystem works. Even though Flutter is common for both, there will be nuances. So you have to spend time. You have to say, okay, it's been 1 month. Can I learn it? It's my advantage and disadvantage is I always underestimate. I will say probably might take 2 months. I would say I can do it in 2 weeks. Then I will try. I will fail. But instead of doing it in 2 months, I will be at least do it in 5 weeks. It's a better outcome for me. So always try. Don't think it is going to be hard. It's a good thing that underestimate. Go try, fail. It's okay. Then I spent another 1 month doing that. It was good. No problem. It went live and not many defects. And I didn't maintain it for quite a long time before the team comes in. Like that. Similarly, when I was starting 10 years ago, there is nothing called Docker. There is nothing called Kubernetes. When those things introduced, I wanted to learn and I want to use them in JDoodle. Again, during the weekends and free time, I was keep learning and we migrated things. It worked well. So first of all, you have to throw your fear away. You can do it. Even though if you can't do it when you are trying, actually it strengthens your muscle. Next time when you try, you can do it.
So don't just default to finding someone who knows how to do it, hiring them to do it, or actually dive into something that you're unfamiliar with.
Yeah. So yeah, that's probably most people will disagree, right? So as an entrepreneur, probably you have to find people, give things, get things done through other people. As I said before, my philosophy is if I can't do it, I can't manage it. So I have to understand what my people do. Probably many people disagree on that. So
thanks, Gokul. You're building for the future. What excites you about the future?
See, technology is moving really fast, but as a humans, are we getting the real benefit out of it? Instead of getting the real benefit out of it, we are still in the same old industrial age working style. When we have computers for almost 40, 50 years now, software is for 40, 50 years, and we got internet came. Have we made people's life easier or harder? Okay, the software developers are the ones going to help other people's life easier, but their life itself has become very harder. So we have to solve that. We have to understand why it has been like this, how we can improve the efficiency that way, how we can release the valuable human time from doing these mundane jobs, mundane tasks.
Our time is valuable.
Yes, absolutely. Our time is valuable.
For students or early career technical people listening, what advice would you have for them to help them succeed in their career?
The only one thing is going to help you is learn. The more you learn, the more wider you read, it is going to strengthen your neural connections. You can be a ChatGPT. Actually, your brain is much more powerful than the GPUs used by ChatGPT. So keep learning.
Human GPT. How can listeners keep track of what we're doing at JDoodle, Gokul?
You can, when you are subscribing, we send a regular newsletter. We have a blog. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, social media. You can follow my LinkedIn profile and keep always post updates about JDoodle and what we are working on. Yeah.
Fantastic. Is there anything I didn't ask you that I should have asked, or any final words that you have for our listeners?
Probably a final word, just keep positive mindset. Think we can do anything and everything. Actually speaking, we can do anything and everything. When Kennedy was talking about sending man to moon, it was like impossible task. But in a decade, they were able to do it. So set some high goals. Don't worry about failure. Even for the small tasks, we might fail, but that's going to just strengthen us.
Shoot for something impossible.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Gokul. It's been such a pleasure.
Thanks, Lucas. Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to Programmable, podcast by JDoodle, the AI coding suite for learning and building together. Try it for free in over 88 languages at jdoodle.com. And of course, you can subscribe to Programmable on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening.